This feels really awkward, but I'm just gonna go for it. So, welcome to our infertility journey. Kevin and I, Janine, we are 1 in 8, and what that means is 1 in 8 couples will have trouble getting or staying pregnant. And we've been trying to conceive now for 18 months, and we have been unsuccessful. So we are officially, diagnosed with infertility. And over the next couple weeks and months, I'm going to be posting, this video is specifically going to be about how we got to where we are now. But I will make longer other videos regarding PCOS, my LEAP procedure, the semen analysis, IVF meds, the process. Like there'll be other videos along the way. This one is just how we got here. And so it all starts back in November of 2017 when Kevin and I were getting married. We already knew we weren't going to start trying until April of 2018, but I wanted to go in and start getting all my tests done. So 3 days before our wedding, I received a call from my doctor letting me know that my pap smear came back normal, but I did test positive for HPV, which means they wanted me to come in right away and do a biopsy to make sure that I didn't have any precancerous cells. Well, we were getting married and about to go on our honeymoon, so I couldn't come in right away. So we did have to schedule that procedure, a copal, in December of 17. And they took, a biopsy of different places on my cervix, and the result was that I did have level C. I think it's level C or 3. Anyways, it was precancerous cells. So I was scheduled in January for a LEAP procedure. The LEAP procedure was performed, and at that same time, I also stopped taking birth control. And by April, when we're now ready to start trying, I still hadn't had a period. And I was prescribed Provera, which is a medication that will basically shed your lining and kind of make your body think you had a period, so it kind of starts over. But the medication didn't work. And when they went in and did an ultrasound, they found out that I had fluid stuck in my uterus because my cervix had basically closed shut from scar tissue from the LEAP procedure. It's a very rare thing that happens. I myself know like a dozen people who have had a LEAP procedure and they have not had this issue. It's just one of those bad luck situations. But because of that, I had to have my cervix opened 2 more times in 2018, and I've had to have it opened once in 2019. So from April until November of 2018, there was no way physically Kevin and I were going to get pregnant. Of course, we didn't know that yet, but still. And they thought I had PCOS, but they couldn't necessarily diagnose it because of my cervix issue. So in January of 2019, I did get the official PCOS diagnosis, and how you get that diagnosis is you have to have 2 of 3 criteria. 1, polycystic ovaries. And all that means is, like, they use the word cyst, but any sac with fluid in it is a cyst. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to become a cyst. It's a follicle with no egg. So every month when a cycle starts for me, I'm having anywhere between 9 and 10 follicles on my ovaries. So that is considered polycystic. I also have irregular periods. So now I've met 2 of the 3. The third one is you have high androgens, so like high testosterone, the high excessive hair, weight gain, depression, acne. There's a whole bunch of things in there, but I don't experience any of those. So for me, it's just the polycystic ovaries and the irregular cycles. I do have a high AMH, which for somebody my age, they're looking for a score of 1 to 2. I have an 8, so I do produce a lot of eggs, and that's basically what that number says, is I have a lot of eggs. And so I was given that diagnosis in January, and then I knew right away we wanted to see a specialist because not that I didn't think my OB could handle it, I just wanted to be more aggressive because Kevin and I had already started talking like next steps. Like what if this isn't going to happen naturally? Like I'm not ovulating. In 16 months, I only ovulated once on my own, and the other 3 that I ovulated were medicated. So the good news is I respond to medication. Bad news is I'm not ovulating naturally. So we saw a reproductive endocrinologist in March of this year, and we did my cycle day 3 blood work, which is where they're looking at your hormone levels, you're assessing your ovaries, and then Kevin did a semen analysis. And when we got his numbers back, they originally told us they were normal, and they didn't give us the numbers. And because we were out on a road trip and I didn't have an appointment for like another week or 2, we didn't actually get his numbers until a month after the results. And so that whole time we were thinking, oh, these, normal results, like now we're doing medicated cycles, we'll get pregnant, all's good. No, when we got the numbers, Kevin's numbers were lower than the World Health Organization guidelines, like their reference range. And so I questioned them saying, well, why are you saying these are normal if they're below the guidelines? And they still stuck with that they were normal if we were going to do IUI, which is intrauterine insemination, which at that point we didn't even know if my tubes were clean, so we weren't, or clean, open, so we weren't considering IUI. If we were going to do it, we were going to be moving to IVF, because the chances of getting pregnant on timed intercourse is between 5 and 10% for us, and it was the same percentages for IUI, 5 to 10% chance. So it didn't make sense for us to, since it's not covered by insurance, to drop $1,300 on a procedure that may not work, or just has the same odds. So at this point, we did start looking out of state for other fertility centers, because when I got the estimate back about what they would charge here, one full round with meds, egg retrieval, transfer, all that jazz was going to cost about $27,000. And that's a hard pill to swallow. That's 27 grand. That's a car. That's a down payment on a house. So we looked out of state. I was referred to a center in Arizona, and we started getting everything ready with them. So they had both of us do blood work again and a semen analysis, and my blood work came back slightly better, where my AMH score was like 5.5 now, which I did find interesting since they were only 2 or 3 months apart. But Kevin's semen analysis came back exactly the same. So we started, doing more to move forward with IVF with an out-of-state center. And when I finally talked to that doctor, he gave an analogy that made it very clear of why we should be doing IVF. And first, he wanted to understand why we'd been doing time intercourse, why we hadn't done an IUI. And, after I told him about, the odds, and he basically said that, so Janine, with your PCOS and your cervical, the stenosis of the cervix, we have that issue. But then we've got Kevin's, low quality sperm, where imagine you're in a room of 100,000 people and somebody else get out. And out of those 100,000 people, only 26,000 people even attempt to move. So the other 74,000, they just lay down, or they just get in your way. They're just, roadblocks. But then out of that 26,000 people, only 12,000 of them are even going to move towards the exit. The other ones that are moving, they're going in circles. So they're not going anywhere, they're just going in circles. So the chance of us getting one of those 12,000 to the exit that's blocked because of my cervix issues, and then an egg not even ovulating, our chances are pretty low. And he was very honest. He said it's not to say it can't happen. It very well could, but there's no way to know how long that's going to take. And so we have decided to definitely move forward with IVF, and we're going to do ICSI, which is a form of IVF where they actually inject the sperm into the egg directly. So this way they're able to isolate the best moving sperm from the sample, and then we'll send them off. We'll get them biopsied and send them off for PGS testing to make sure that if there's no abnormal embryos, because you know, if you don't do the testing, you risk having an abnormal embryo that will not implant and that will end up miscarrying anyways. So, and that happens in natural pregnancies. This is not, like, IVF is not a guarantee. IVF, the chances are still only 45 to 55%. But like, you're still at the mercy of your body. So our center that we are moving forward with has a really high success rate. So that's exciting. And, you know, we are looking forward to the next steps. So we're starting in November, and you know, hopefully in 2020 we'll be doing a transfer and we'll be able to start our family. It's definitely, you know, it's been hard. For me, there's, you know, and I'll talk about it when I do my PCOS video, but it's really hard not to feel like you're failing. You know, it's really hard to explain, like, that, just this, I don't know if it's just from being a woman or I can't really explain it, but I feel this, just this sadness that my body, like, the one thing it's supposed to be doing to, you know, to be able to, like, you know, I just can't do it. It's, like, hard for me to even talk about or even put it in words, but, you know, like, I really want to be a mom, and I really want to make Kevin a dad, and I'm excited for our next steps. I'm glad we're moving forward, and, you know, I look forward to sharing it with all of you. And yeah, go ahead and subscribe and follow along on our crazy journey over the next couple months.